Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Today's subject, Wüsthof vs Zelite, which should you buy? Once you begin to research knives, you'll see that different brands place quite a different emphasis on what's important about a knife. It can make choosing between them difficult, but it's worth understanding which type of knife is best suited to your needs. Two popular knife brands that offer quite different products are Wüsthof and Zelite. In this article, I'm going to tell you the differences between these two brands. I'll go in-depth into the details of each, talking about where they are made, what materials are used, and the difference in price. This article should provide all the information you need to select the right knife for your needs. Wüsthof knives are extremely durable, so are ideal for busy family or professional kitchens. Zelite knives are very budget-friendly, and their Japanese series offers a much sharper edge than Wüsthof knives, but the harder steel does mean they are more brittle and so less durable than Wüsthof. My Wüsthof recommendation. The Wüsthof Classic Chef's Knife is my recommendation if you're looking for a Wüsthof knife. I recommend it a lot on this site as it's the ultimate Western chef's knife. It's super durable, comfortable to hold and use, and as we've seen in the article above, it uses top quality materials and is manufactured right in the German city of Blades, as it has been for over 200 years. There are less expensive and more expensive Wüsthof knives, but for the money, I think this is the best. My Zelite recommendation. If you're after the razor-sharp edge offered by Japanese steel, but don't want to pay the cost of a Japanese manufactured knife, then the Zelite Executive Plus is a great choice. As a comparison, the Miyabi Kaizen 2/8-inch chef's knife, which is a quality Japanese knife made in Japan, uses steel of the same hardness but costs around 50% more than the Zelite Executive Plus. The Executive Plus series in particular also has a very ergonomically designed handle, using G10 to make it very lightweight and curved to perfectly fit into the palm of your hand. It's a great knife, for a great price. If you're on a budget but still looking for quality, you can go far wrong with this. In fact, you could get the Zelite Executive Plus and a Zelite Comfort Plus series and still pay less than you would for one Japanese-made knife. That way you have the best of both worlds, one super sharp Japanese steel knife and one durable German steel knife. Wüsthof vs Zelite, what is the difference? Now that we have looked at the design, materials, background and price of these brands, we can fully understand the difference, and you should be able to make an informed decision on which knife is correct for you. The main differences between Wüsthof and Zelite knives is that Wüsthof knives are super durable, but Zelite knives cost less and their Japanese series are far sharper. Zelite offers the sharper blade. That's only the case for their Japanese series, but those still cost less than the classic Wüsthof. Zelite's German series will be relatively similar in sharpness to Wüsthof as they're made from the same X50 CRMOV15 steel. Zelite knives also cost less. Their German series tend to be around the $50 mark and their Japanese series are around the $140 mark, both lower than the Wüsthof Classic range, and for the quality of materials they use, the prices are very low. Wüsthof knives are purpose-built for durability, and they are one of the best brands around at achieving this. They use classic design and quality durable materials to create a knife that will last, even if it's not treated particularly well. With that understood, it should now be easy to choose between the two knives. Wüsthof vs Zelite, which is better for you? I have to stress that these are both brilliant knives in their own way. There is no clear winner, it's really down to which one suits your needs the best. For a busy family kitchen, where multiple people might be using the knife, then I would recommend the Wüsthof. Wüsthof is one of the most durable brands on the market, and there are very few that match it for durability. If you want a knife that is guaranteed to last, Wüsthof is the best choice. That's why it's one of the most popular knives in the world for professional chefs. If sharpness or budget is your main concern, then the Zelite is the best choice for you. The Japanese series of knives Zelite offers are made from very high quality and hard steel, so they can retain a much sharper edge than a Wüsthof ever could. That does mean they are more brittle though. As a result, the edge will be more prone to chipping than the softer Wüsthof, so storing a Japanese series Zelite in a knife block or sheath and hand cleaning is a must. Because they are made in China, they also cost significantly less than knives using the exact same standard of materials but manufactured in Japan. This is also true for Zelite's German series of knives. They don't have the benefit of being super sharp, because they are made with the same X50 CRMOV15 as the Wüsthof, but for the quality, they generally cost quite a bit less. If you're looking for a quality knife on a budget, go with Zelite. If you are after the best in durability for a busy kitchen, go with Wüsthof. Wüsthof versus Zelite, where are they made? Wüsthof is a family-owned German company based in Solingen, a city based just outside Düsseldorf in western Germany. Wüsthof produces all its knives in the German city of Solingen and has done so for over 200 years. This relatively small German city has a population just above 150,000. Its strong knife-making reputation has led it to be dubbed the City of Blades. Zelite manufactures its knives in Yangjiang, China. Zelite is a relatively small, family-owned business. On the face of it, the fact that Zelite knives are manufactured in China might be a little off-putting. Let's be honest, when we see the words made in China, we usually think that the quality isn't going to be great, but with Zelite I think there are some large benefits from having production based there. They still use quality materials, but as the manufacturing costs are kept low, these savings are passed on to the customer. Zelite provides a range of both Japanese and German-influenced knives. In this article though, I'm mainly focusing on their most popular Japanese-style Executive Pro. Wüsthof is the real deal in regard to being produced directly in the heartland of its German heritage, whilst Zelite is perhaps less authentic. That's the beginning of the differences between these knives, but there are more, starting with the steel. Wüsthof versus Zelite, what steel do they use? The steel used in knives will often change depending on which range you pick. This is particularly true of Zelite. They use a number of different steels throughout their ranges as they have both German and Japanese-influenced knives. Their German series uses X50 CRMOV15, the same as Wüsthof, and their Japanese series use both US10 and VG10 depending on the range. For a fair comparison, I'm going to focus on the most popular range for both Wüsthof and Zelite knives. For Wüsthof that's their classic range, and for Zelite it's their Executive Plus range. Which steel a knife uses is often the best insight into its influence, and what functionality the brand has placed most focus on. The Wüsthof Classic range uses X50 CRMOV15. This is a German steel that is used for the majority of Wüsthof knives. It's popular steel amongst producers of quality Western-style knives. That's because it has a particular focus on durability, whilst retaining enough strength for a sharp edge. The main elements of interest within X50 CRMOV15's composition are carbon, vanadium, and chromium. The carbon content is 0.55%. That's not particularly high when comparing it with other quality knives, however, it's high enough to provide sufficient strength in the blade for a 15 to 20 degree angle on each side, which is standard for Western knives. The big benefit of not having a very high carbon content is that higher carbon steels are usually more brittle. Therefore the 0.55% content keeps the blade durable. That's the same with the strong vanadium of 0.4%. Vanadium improves the resistance to wear of the steel, also adding to its durability. The chromium content is 15% is what the 15 in X50 CRMOV15 represents. Chromium is vital for the durability of steel as it's what makes stainless steel resistant to rust. Steel need only be 10.5% to be considered stainless, so a 15% content is high and makes this a quality stainless steel, very unlikely to rust unless extremely mistreated by the owner. The Zelite Executive Plus range uses Japanese steel US10. Other Zelite knives use X50 CRMOV15 for their German range and VG10, another Japanese steel. This is where we start to see the benefits of Zelite knives. The materials they use are very good quality, in this case, imported from Japan, but the Chinese manufacturing reduces the cost to the consumer. US10 is a Japanese steel with a great reputation. It's a high carbon steel, with a carbon content between 0.95% to 1.1%. That means the steel is hard, allowing it to hold a sharper edge for longer. The chromium level is also high at 13% to 14.5%. It's not as good as the Wüsthof, but it's still enough to make US10 a quality stainless steel and therefore very rust resistant. The trade-off here is sharpness for durability. The Wüsthof's X50 CRMOV15 steel is more durable than US10. The high carbon Zelite knife can hold a sharper edge, but it will be more brittle and thus more prone to chipping along the edge. That hardness is clearly shown in the Rockwell scale score, where the Zelite Executive Plus knives have a much higher HRC than the Wüsthof Classic, standing at 61 compared with 58. Wüsthof versus Zelite, how sharp are they? Once again, I'm going to focus on the most popular knives from each brand for this comparison. That's the Wüsthof Classic and Zelite Executive Pro. You will experience a much sharper edge using Zelite knives than Wüsthof knives. The factory edge is finer and the steel is significantly harder. Wüsthof knives are primarily focused on durability rather than sharpness. When it comes to sharpness, it's often the angle of the blade that will be advertised, but actually, the hardness of the steel is probably more important. Often people will look at the knife with the smallest angle and say that's the sharpest, but in practicality, this isn't quite true. Harder knives will hold a sharper edge for longer. Often knives with a larger angle, but harder steel will actually perform better for sharpness than a softer steel with a more acute angle, as soft steel can't retain an acute angle for long. With that being said, Zelite offers the best of both worlds when it comes to sharpness. The US10 high carbon steel has a Rockwell hardness of HRC 61, meaning it can retain a very sharp edge. Combine that with the razor-sharp 12-degree out-of-the-factory angle on the blade, and the Zelite is by far the sharper knife of the two. Zelite uses Japanese steel, and that tends to have a focus on hardness, in order to create a sharper edge. Wüsthof's X50 CRMOV15 steel will not be able to hold a 14-degree edge for very long. Wüsthof knives will dull much more quickly than Zelite knives, and to maintain even the 14-degree factory angle, they would have to be sharpened very frequently. I would actually recommend that when you do come to sharpen a Wüsthof, an angle between 15 to 20 degrees would be more appropriate. I think the 14-degree angle is more for marketing purposes than practicality. However, the benefit of using softer steel is that Wüsthof knives will be much more durable. Since the Zelite uses a harder steel, it will be more brittle. Combine that with the very acute 12-degree angle, and Zelite knives will be more prone to chipping along the edge if they are not looked after carefully. Overall though, this is a clear win for Zelite and is probably its best feature. Wüsthof versus Zelite, what are the handles made from? The material used for handles is a vital and often overlooked feature of any knife. A quality handle is often the sign of a quality overall knife. Handles need to be made from a durable material that can withstand all the heat and moisture fluctuations knives can experience in the kitchen. Once again, we'll focus on the two main ranges from each brand, the Wüsthof Classic and Zelite Executive Plus knives. Wüsthof use a thermoplastic material called POM, polyoxymethylene, for their knife handles. Materials like these are ideal for knife handles due to their extreme durability. POM is specifically designed for high stiffness and stability, and being a thermoplastic means it's also extremely resistant to temperature and moisture changes. Zelite uses a fiberglass laminate called G10 for their Executive Plus knife handles. Not all Zelite knives use G10, but all Zelite ranges do use good quality materials for their handles, such as Pakkawood. G10 is a fiberglass laminate, making it a fantastic material for knife handles. It has the perfect combination of being extremely lightweight and very tough. It will be able to withstand any of the standard pressure of a kitchen. Zelite focuses quite heavily on making comfortable handles, and their knife ranges do use a variety of materials for their handles, not just G10. But they always use quality materials, such as Pakkawood for their Alpha Royal Japanese series, a quality wood/resin material commonly used as a material by traditional Japanese knife manufacturers. So whichever range of Zelite knives you choose, you can be confident that the handle will be a quality, durable and comfortable one. Both POM and G10 are top quality knife handle materials, so there is little to choose between the two here. Wüsthof versus Zelite, how much do they cost? Both these brands have wide ranges of knives, all at differing price ranges. To allow for a fairer comparison, I've categorized three of their major ranges that represent their highest and lowest cost knives. I've tried to compare similar knives, sticking to 8-inch chef's knives or the closest equivalent they have in the range. In brackets next to the general price range, you'll see the name of the range. These prices are rough estimates. Prices do change over time, but this is intended as a rough guide. As is clear to see, Zelite knives are consistently lower in price than Wüsthof. It's almost unfair to split them into three categories, as the stand and premium variations for Zelite are really only $10 or so different. Typically Zelite's German-influenced 8-inch chef's knives are around $50 to $60 and their Japanese-influenced chef's knives are around $130 to $150. That's vastly lower than the Wüsthof knives, and a lot of the difference is because Zelite manufactures their knives in China. However, their materials are still top quality. Their German series uses the same X50 CRMOV15 German steel that Wüsthof uses, and their Japanese series uses either a US10 or VG10, both steels that can be found in Japanese knives easily costing over $200. These steels are all made in either German or Japan and then exported to China for assembly of the knife. For me, that makes Zelite incredibly good value, and it justifies the fact they are produced in China. Frankly, if you found a knife using the same materials as Zelite, but manufactured in their heartland, German or Japan, they would easily cost 50% to 100% more than Zelite knives do. So if you're looking for a quality knife on a budget, Zelite is the winner here.